spots a cop car, drops his seat, and says, "Oh man, Uncle, 5-0, we gotta hide." I'll be honest, I'm not happy with the way we raise our black boys. Don't like the fact that he learned to hide from the cops well before he knew how to read. Angrier that his survival depends more on his ability to deal with authorities than it does his own literacy. Get up, I yell at him. In this car, in this family, we are not afraid of the law. I wonder if he can hear the uncertainty in my voice. Is today the day he learns that Uncle is willing to lie to him? That I'm more human than I am hero. We both know the truth is far more complex than do not hide. Both know too many black boys who disappeared, names lost, know too many Trayvon Martins, Oscar Grants, and Abner Louimas, know too many Sean Bells and Amadou Diallos, know too well that we are the hard-boiled sons of Emmett Till still. We both know it's not about whether or not the shooter is racist. It's about how poor black boys are treated as problems well before we're treated as people. Black boys in this country cannot afford to play cops and robbers if we're always considered the latter. Don't have the luxuries of playing war if we're already in one. Where I'm from, seeing cop cars drive down the street feels a lot like low-flying planes in New York City. Where I'm from, routine traffic stops are more like minefields. Any wrong move can very well mean your life. And how do I look my nephew in his apple face and tell him to be strong when we both know black boys who are murdered every day simply for standing up for themselves? I take him by the hand, I say be strong. I tell him, I say be smart. Be kind and polite. Know your laws. Be aware of how quickly your hand moves to pocket for wallet or ID. Be more aware of how quickly an officer's hand moves to holster for gun. Be black. Be a boy. Have fun. Because this world will force you to become a man far more quickly than you'll ever have to need to. He lets go of my hand, but Uncle, he asks, "Uncle, what happens if the cop is really me?" And it scares me to know that he, like so many other black boys, is getting ready for a war I can't prepare him for.
Bam. Preaching the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. Now mention both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Peace be upon them both. They were both messengers of truth and reality. You're looking at the Underground Railroad TV show. My name is Clifton Raheem Bradley, and my co-host is former Alderman Virgil Jones. And we come on every Saturday night at 10:30. So you know what, I want y'all to get on board, because we ready to go on a ride. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, former Alderman Jones, I'm going to have him introduce himself to Mr. Loveless. He's running for office.
Okay. I have to remind my good friend, I was also the Democratic Ward Committeeman.
Yes, sir.
And the alderman. The difference is because a ward committeeman is a political party position. That's a private club. And the alderman is a public office.
Yes, sir. And I want to, thank you. And I want to thank you for accepting an invitation to come on Underground Railroad. Thank you. It was a good show, last show, but you know what? We're going to talk about politics that night. But if you want to talk about that, you're free to. But introduce yourself, please.
My name is Marc Loveless, and I'm a candidate for Chicago City Clerk. Mm-hmm. The election is February 24th, 2015.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell us something about yourself, please, because you're running for office. Just tell us something about yourself.
I came to Chicago 22 years ago, actually almost 23 years ago now. And I came here.
From what city?
From Detroit. I grew up, I was born and raised in Detroit. And I came here working for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. When I got to Chicago, the first thing I had started to do was to volunteer and to work in community groups, social justice organizations. I began volunteering at the Rainbow Push Coalition. I eventually, after I left the State's Attorney's Office, ended up working for the Rainbow Push Coalition. After volunteering, I began to work in my neighborhood and community. I was elected president of the Near Northwest Neighborhood Network, which takes in Humboldt Park, Bucktown, and Wicker Park. and I served in that position for 3 years as a board president. Then I was also simultaneously elected to be on the local school council.
Okay.
We were the second group of local school council people to be, or groups to be elected, and
James Dean just died. He's the one that
I know,
formed.
exactly.
You know
yeah.
what can I say? One quick thing about James Dean. It's things that y'all don't know. He helped the Underground Railroad. And I'm not going to disclose that. He was a good man. He formulated the local school council. Good man. James Dean, excuse me. Okay.
No, I go right ahead. No, that's very, very true. And when I ran, there were 6 people that ran. I ran as a community rep because at the time my son was only 18 months, so he wasn't old enough to be in school. So there were 2 community rep spots I ran, and then there were 4 other people that ran. So 2 of us got elected. I not only got elected, but I was told by the school board I got more votes for the office of local school council community rep than anyone else in the city. I went on to just continue to do volunteer work, as well as to cater the work that I was doing toward civil rights and social justice.
Do you know the president of the school council at Wadsworth, Darnell Glover?
I believe I met Darnell Glover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got a question? Okay.
Well, you're running for city clerk. What does the city clerk do?
Very good. The city clerk is the official keeper of the records and the seal for the city of Chicago. Now, what that means is that any communications to the city council or the mayor flows first to the official business, goes to the clerk's office.
Okay.
The clerk's office is also where people buy their vehicle stickers for their cars. Businesses receive their business licenses from the clerk's office. And the clerk's office is to publish the minutes of the city council meetings, as well as the notices to the city council meetings. Now that's where it begins.
What about the revenue department?
The revenue department is, what do you mean? What about that falls under the revenue department and paying your you mean paying the fines and stuff, paying your parking, and that's where you pay your parking tickets and stuff.
Is that a part of this?
The revenue department is not a part of the clerk's office, but you do pay at the clerk's office. I mean, the revenue department is under the mayor's office.
I want to ask you, you know what, the individual that you're running against, I don't even know who it is. And tell us who it is and why you decided to run against them, and are you slated by the Democratic Party? Although it's a nonpartisan, are you slated?
No, I'm not slated, and it is a nonpartisan race, so that wouldn't fall into the mix. But the reason that I'm running is because I think that there's more that can be done for that office. I've always admired that office. Before I came to Chicago, I worked in Detroit as assistant ombudsman, and that office was an office where people could go and get answers for questions in regards to the city, even when other city departments would not have an answer. That's what I want to transform this clerk's office to be. Basically, I think the clerk's office can take these 3 tools: transparency, civic engagement, and social entrepreneurship, and be responsive to a lot more city needs. With transparency, we could make the accessibility of pertinent information to citizens more readily available. I want to conduct community forums and on topics, on current topics, and invite city departments, including working with the area aldermen, to coordinate so that people are more engaged. We are unique in Chicago. there is in our city ordinance or our city charter as it is now, it empowers people. We've actually had this thing turned upside down for so long that we need to turn it right side up. Within the charter, it says that people don't have to wait for an alderman to write an ordinance.
No, they don't.
You can write an ordinance. Anybody watching now can decide to write an ordinance
And submit it to the
and
clerk's
submit it
office.
to the clerk's office, and the city council and the mayor has
know
to consider it. And so I want to utilize that tool to empower people, because I want to not only use it once. If they don't want to look at it the first time, we change it. We'll come back and make them look at it the second time. So, there are like 3 different things that are current now, that if we had a city clerk that had some sense of civic engagement and social justice, we would have a different kind of city altogether.
What type of technological innovations, I'm not even saying that word correctly, changes would you make to make the flow of information flow faster, differently?
Well, I don't know if we need it to go faster. It needs to be clear for people, clarity and more than people talk about transparency. I like to say more beyond transparency, because transparency can say it's all there. You go look. You can go down to that basement and you can find anything you want as far as in the city council minutes. That's not good. No. People are concerned about where are the TIF dollars going and how are they being spent. What is the city council's real position on an elected school board? Why is it that people have to pay to park in front of their own homes? These are legitimate questions. The clerk's office can be leveraged to activate civic engagement to the point that it's an easy thing. The people citizens that have looked at trying to find out where TIF dollars have gone, they will tell you they found out by going through the county clerk's office, because the county clerk is more accessible as far as information. That stuff needs to be front and center. As far as for people, you should not have to go to the county clerk's office. The city of Chicago, the city clerk's office should have that type of information, and also what bills are being considered, what ordinances are being considered can be highlighted on the front page of the clerk's office.
Are you saying that you want to have the clerk's office computerized so people can go to a computer to find out information?
And more than that you can not only go to a computer, but that you can go into any clerk's office and you can have that information made readily available to you by just going and asking someone at the desk. Now I'm going to tell you something else. Right now, the clerk's office not only knowing about the clerk's office, but there are 3 offices that the clerk currently has. The main office at City Hall. There's an office out south, and there's an office northwest. Now, I've been to all those offices, and the closest thing I could say is it's organized chaos at those offices, and it is inaccessible. The clerk recently has talked about and really bragged about the fact that we've gone to a new system with the city stickers. And in going to that new system, the current clerk has claimed that we have garnered $4.5 million in the first year. And that office equates that to the fact that they were able to find 30,000 new vehicles to be stickered. Okay, that's how they're saying now that they raised that $4.5 million. They weren't clear when they first said that they were going to raise $4.4 million, because I began to talk about you're counting on the fact that you've eliminated the grace period. And we all know we've always had this time when you get your sticker, and then there was a grace period. Well, with this new sticker program, there is no grace period. So day 1 you're late, day 1 you missed it, you're going to be penalized. And I think it's that revenue gaining that and counting on folks not being compliant and missing a day or two. That's how they think that they're going to raise money. If in fact I'm wrong with that, and if it is the 30,000 vehicles that they say they found, what you have then admitted is that you have sat by for 3 years and allowed the city to lose revenue of 4.5 million per year, which is over $16 million. That's not the only thing. She wants to, the current clerk also wants to fine people who have not licensed their dogs. We have $500,000 dogs.
Are you serious?
Yes. We have 500,000 dogs in the city of Chicago. There are about 30,000 that are registered. She wants the other people to be fined. How about this? The other most of the folks don't even know they're supposed to register the dog every year. They don't know that. They don't know that you can register from 1 to 3 years. They don't know anything about it. So so instead of trying to do public education, she wants to fine people. See, here's the thing. Also, let me say this.
Wow.
With the parking permits, we have in many neighborhoods we have residential parking. So you pay your city sticker and then you pay your residential parking permit. Okay, now the reason why they have those in those are neighborhoods where there are either shopping malls, schools, metro
events.
stops, yes, for other hospitals, large facilities around there.
To keep the people from being
Right.
able to
So the
use
neighbors
streets.
can't park there. So I say, okay, let's keep the sticker program, but don't charge people extra for it. Just give the people who live there, give them their sticker, their permit. Don't make them have to pay for stickers for their guests or for themselves, because you should not have to pay to park in front of your own house. The bottom line is the policy of this clerk has been penalties, fines, and being more antagonistic towards the citizens because they want to get somebody.
Yes.
We deserve better than that. In this city, we can't afford to live like that.
I ask you something. I'm listening to you. And I don't know I forgot the person that you're running against. Is she disconnected from the very people that voted her in office? Does she think she's superior to the very people that voted her in office?
Well, I want to help him out.
Okay.
She don't care about the people that put her in office. She does what she's told to do.
You follow orders.
She follows orders, and it's that simple.
You asked if she was disconnected, as if there was one point that she was connected. I don't know if she ever was connected to the grassroots like we're talking about. I mean, she's very,
What's her name?
Mendoza, Susanna Mendoza.
Okay.
I don't know her personally. I've met her, but it's not. The issue is this: nice person, great young woman with a new family, but we need something that speaks to responding to the needs and the quality of life of this city.
Can I ask this
And
one?
that's
she
important.
She used to be a state
She
representative.
was not only she was a state representative, she was the lead state representative that led to the impeachment of Rod Blagojevich.
You said she's disconnected. She says she's like Browner, okay, who's running for governor against Patrick Quinn and say, minimum wage, we don't need to raise the minimum wage. He's totally disconnected from the very people that he wants votes for. But she's disconnected like that, huh?
Well, I think you're giving her much more credit to say that she's disconnected,
I'm
because
just using
that assumes that she was once connected.
What you're saying is that she was never connected to people.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Well, could I say something to help you out? The clerk's office for over 30 years has belonged to the 14th Ward Democratic Organization. All right? Kozabowski.
Who went to jail?
Right. And I don't know.
Lasky.
Last
went
year
to
came
jail?
out of the 23rd Ward.
Okay.
But when he fell out with Lipinski, he depended on them because the deputy, all right, clerk was Eddie Burke's brother. All right.
Okay.
So, they were really running everything. And when they got tired of him,
Then
he went to jail.
yeah, and then we had the one good thing about Miguel de Valier is he broke the chain of folks going from the clerk's office to jail, and that's a tradition I want to withhold, want to hold up. Is the de Valier tendency of leaving the clerk's office and not having any
He
problems.
was lucky.
Yeah.
He was lucky. He left before they could get him.
Right.
But they were going to get him.
They were coming.
They were coming.
You know they were coming.
Let me ask you something. You mentioned something about TIF money.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this TIF money being spent on private entities? Like to build stadiums for DePaul University. That's an example. It's being spent on private entities, and it's not designed for that. Why?
Let's be very clear. The TIF program.
Maybe people don't know what TIF is, but explain.
The tax increment financing
districts.
program was brought to Chicago by Mayor Harold Washington, and the intent of it was what the purpose is to, in areas where otherwise there would be nothing, that it required special consideration and special funding and that sort of thing.
Why is our
What
money
has
being
happened?
built to build a stadium at the?
What has happened is people have taken the intent of Harold Washington and the purpose of that program and bastardized its contemporary use. And it started with Daley, and it has continued. I mean, and the reason why it's being done is because they can do it. But let me just tell you this: here, when I mentioned the TIFs, and I told you about the Cook County, I believe this is what I mean beyond transparency. Folks need to understand. Every governmental body that receives taxes from an area that's being dependent on TIFs has voted on it and approved it. That's why there's a massive confusion, because people don't understand your county commissioner, your state representative, your school board, your water reclamation, all of them that receive. If I was to say this area right here is going to be a TIF, and it may include 2 wards or 1 ward and a state rep and a state senate seat, and all of those bodies have got to approve it. So I mean, so we have to be really clear. This is what I mean by calling. When I'm elected clerk, we're going to call all public officials to be accountable, because we're going to say this is who all the folks are from the city standpoint who helped the city do this. Yes, it's primarily a city issue, but it's not totally a city issue.
And it's supposed to be used for blighted
areas. And what defines blight is an area that but for this, there would be no development. There would be no development.
And they don't pay any taxes.
And
the tax money isn't used for 20 years except to develop the area.
That area, and that is what the Chicago Board of Trade was renovated based on. Every brokerage firm, in addition to the fact that we've got to get to a point where we're going to be fair. And we're going to have the same expectations for all people. So every brokerage firm in the Chicago Board of Trade and the Mercantile Mart, all those brokerage firms, in addition to receiving TIF monies, because they were in a TIF area, also received additional tax breaks, in addition to not paying a dime of sales tax on the billions and billions of dollars that they received every year.
Him back.
Well, let me tell you, in 1995, I put an amendment into the budget when I was an alderman to tax the Board of Trade and the Board of Option.
And they said there's a state law that you can't do it.
Well, that has nothing to do with that.
You can change the state law.
You don't have to even worry about the state law, because we have what's known as what?
Home rule?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what happened is that an alderman from the 45th Ward tabled it in the Budget Committee. And you know how
it's probably still on the table.
It's probably still on the table, because at that time they had collected $45 billion a year, and I was only asking for them to get a 1% tax would have meant $450 million.
We want a
See,
half a penny.
You and
We're
I,
going for a half a penny now.
You and I understand. It's much more now.
Yeah.
All right, and that would have been $450 million extra to the city of Chicago. They wouldn't have had none of the problems that they had.
And you know, and then the Board of Trade. This is the good citizens they are.
And they agreed,
right,
in order to receive the money that they got, called the U.S.A grant. All right, they agreed back then that they were going to create jobs and employment for underprivileged, all right, and poor people, and they haven't done it till today.
No, see, but let me
That's when I knew I was going to jail.
That's when you knew you was.
A guy told me, he said, "You know, you're going to jail." Said these other folks don't know nothing about what you.
That's all right.
When it comes to money.
That's all right.
I understood money. You understand money. I can tell by the way you're talking.
Can I just, regard to the money thing, because there's one other piece that I want to add to this, and that's social entrepreneurship.
When you get through, I got a question about red light cameras. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, social entrepreneurship is actually looking at our economy, establishing that we need something else. This free enterprise system, it's not free and it's not enterprising. We've got to begin to look at unique and specific ways that we can expand the economic portfolio of Chicago. We have that basis here in Illinois right now. We've got to look at, and this calls upon nonprofit organizations, community groups, faith-based organizations, whoever you are, you need to look at what you're doing and realize what is the social impact of what you're doing. Because that's what, I'll tell you this, the government as it is, the government agencies and the philanthropic agencies right now are no longer accepting things as they have been. They're calling for you to show what is the social impact. You can no longer be able to say, we have 30 people that come a month that come through our job training program and nobody gets a job after the program.
Let me ask you, you got 2 minutes left. Do you think red light cameras are unconstitutional, or should it should be put on a referendum to abolish it? We only got 2 minutes left, man.
Okay, I'm not an attorney, so I can't tell you what's constitutional or not. But I can tell you this, as city clerk, that's another thing that I would that I would encourage people to write the ordinance, write it, give it to the clerk. I'll take it to the council. I'd make the council and the mayor, whoever the mayor is, and who's ever on the city council, deal with it and deal with it again and again.
Okay. Tell us your telephone number and where they can get in contact with you and where they can meet you.
You can contact me at 773-340-3751. That gets right to my cell phone number. Or you can email 773-340-3751.